What's up, ballers? Welcome to episode 28 of the AllDriveNoDrop podcast. We have something spicy cooking for you tonight. David, first, before we get into it, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. I'm in the new space right now. So I was telling Jacob earlier, but before I was recording on my phone, so I could barely see him. But now I've got my computer set up. Now I got a different background. So hopefully it doesn't look like a jail cell anymore to that person that commented that on my last video.
Hey, I like it. Keep us guessing with the different studios. I appreciate it. I'm just happy to be here. Like, the normal time we were supposed to record, I get a big triangle on my phone, and it said warning: severe thunderstorm and tornado watch, 80-mile-per-hour plus winds coming your way. And I'm like, I've actually never received such a warning in the area I live in now. So I was like, I guess I'm gonna go listen to this. I hadn't really been paying attention to the weather. It was actually like raining off and on, and then for the past 2 hours I had been outside. It was pretty nice out and warm. And so when I got that on my phone, I look outside, I'm like, well, it doesn't really seem that bad. But then the warnings flashing on my phone, I go look at the news, and they're like, yeah, it's probably best if you go into your basement. I'm like, all right. So I had to get the whole family. We're all in the basement, and it said 7:45, but nothing was coming yet. And I'm like, all right, we're in here for 25 minutes, and I'm like, nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden, the rain starts pounding down, the wind starts coming, and it only lasted like 5-10 minutes. Some big thunder, some lightning flashes, nothing too crazy, nothing too crazy. So luckily, I don't think there was any damage or anything, but
Okay.
gave us a little scare, not like scare, I guess, but like gave us a little of something to do for a second.
Yeah, well,
So
glad you're
then that
okay.
happened,
Yeah. Is
and
your Dink Master
then
okay?
Dinkmaster's okay. Don't worry, it's in my basement. That is one thing they do say: don't bring it out in windy conditions. I haven't tried it, so I don't want to risk it.
Yeah.
Uh, so that happens, right? And then I see this isn't really, like, I guess, the same scale, but we're gonna keep going. Then I see that the Luzz cannon, I think we talked about it last episode. I think there was maybe a review on it, and I see a comment or maybe a story from Rafa, the Pickleball tech dude, good friend of ours. He posts that the Luzz cannon has been delisted from upa-a. And I'm like, what's going on here? So I'm like, everything's just going wild. Then, wait, this isn't bad, but I see the Vatic Saga 14 millimeter has been approved. The Flash, the hybrid version, it passes PB Core with a .44, the first of
Wait.
its kind, from what I know.
Okay.
And then, what do I see? There's been another Detroit Pistons brawl. And just like, things are going wild. Is it? I don't even know. It's March 30th. What's going on? So anyway, that's just kind of like the start here for the Sunday, or recording on a Sunday night here. And things are just getting wild out there. Uh, but yeah, we got some good stuff. This is the paddle tier list episode, but we're going to get into some other stuff first. But we are going to do a tier list update. So we're going to have all the companies we ranked before in their spots already, and then we'll go through each one. And if there's not much to say, we'll briefly skip over it and then adjust where they should be for us. And then we have some new companies to add there. But first, let's get into What the Pickle, sponsored by Enhanced Pickleball, maker of the Dink Master Pro, my favorite pickleball training tool, something I use almost every day in my basement to practice dinks, practice a little hand speed, hands battles. Just a great tool. So What the Pickle, we're going to get into it. The Luzz cannon has been delisted, as well as all the other Luzz paddles from the upa-a. So just before this, I asked Jason Aspis, I guess you'd say the I should have looked this up. President of the upa-a, leader of the upa-a. I don't know. Anyway, I'll get that right next time. He said, I'll just read it word for word. All Luzz paddles have been removed from the upa-a approved list. We have never seen this paddle on this site, referencing the cannon. The ZZ model was submitted first for provisional approval, which required USAP certification. Then this Canon version was submitted under the paddle design registration program that allows different colorways or aesthetic only changes to the paddle. We have never seen this paddle at UPA Pro events, nor have we tested this paddle as they attested to it being the same as the ZZ version, which was originally approved under the provisional approval. The provisional approval system relies on the USA Pickleball certification to be up to date and paddle manufacturers, to be honest. And then once the UPAA certification begins in September 1st, we will have full control. I guess what do you think about that? What do you think happened here? What do you
My
think?
thought is like, I don't know how familiar you are or like a lot of the other our viewers are with Luzz, but I did cover them before a few months ago, and they came out with like this ZZ paddle. I think it was like the ZZ Attack and the ZZ
Uh-huh.
Balance. And so I was familiar with those, and those are basically like some Gen 2s, like not the best quality ones, but I think they were going for maybe around that $100 price point. So they weren't bad paddles for its price. And then when I heard about the Canon, I tried it out, and from my initial impression was this sounds a lot like a mod. Now I hit it this past week, and it's actually bad timing because I was actually recording a video for it that's going to release tomorrow, hopefully, but we'll see if I still release it. But anyways, in terms of for my playtest, it sounded like a mod, but it like the power level was Gen 3, but it wasn't as much as a Gen 3S or like the Planker from Paddle Shop. So those are the three I was testing against each other. And the Canon, it like people were just saying like it sounds really loud when you hit it, and that we think you're gonna hit the ball a lot harder than you actually do. So the ball, it still comes off hard, but you're hitting harder with the Gen 3S, which wasn't as hollow sounding. And so that was my thought on it. It's basically like a softer feeling Gen 3S, but like louder. And this was also just with like a few games in, so no break in or anything. But my theory is that they submitted, sorry, let me take this back. My theory is like when they came out, oh shoot, my camera just died on me. Let me, all right, I'm switching cameras real quick.
It's all right. We can still hear you though.
All right.
Go ahead. So I I'll wait for your theory, and then I guess I'll say my theory. I'm not really sure what happened here. Like if they were trying to pull a fast one, or if there was just a misunderstanding in things. Just I'll wait to hear from Luzz Pickleball before I go say like this was a complete bait and switch. But
All
yeah,
right,
go
there
ahead
we
with
go.
your theory.
Yeah, so when I was checking the UPA certified list, I didn't see the Canon on there. So I saw that they had the ZZ paddle. And then when I was clicked on the ZZ paddle, then it said ZZ Canon. But the picture I saw was the same as the ZZ Attack, I think, or the Balance. And so I think they submitted the Gen 2 for approval and then swapped it out and then started releasing the Canon saying that one was approved. So that's my theory as to like they never sent the Canon over to UPA for testing, but they sent the original one and then
Mm.
swapped it because those look very similar. So
Do
hopefully
you
this
do you
camera doesn't
think
die
they
again.
did bait and switch then? They
I don't
said, I
know.
mean,
And there's
I
also a
guess they're
possibility that because Rafa just did a video on it, and then like we mentioned something last week that they became in UPA's crosshairs, and they're like, hold on, let's take a look at this.
well,
So
I 100% think that they caught wind of this because of either the podcast, or I don't know when Rafa released his review, but I
it was
think
like
word started
today, I
spreading
think.
around. I
Yeah.
saw a lot of people, just different places, kind of talking about it. So I think you might have shut down Buzz Pickleball here. They're
Yeah,
not
it's
shut
definitely
down. They're not shut.
Rafa. It's
Yeah,
definitely
they're not
Rafa, not me.
okay. David didn't do anything, guys. David didn't do anything. I don't think they would. I don't think they would admit that, like, they're getting like news from us and then reacting to it. Although I don't see why that's a big deal. Like we get more new. We probably get more news than they do. So like
Yeah.
we're not that. I'm not saying we're more informed than they are, but we get news from more sources than they do. So it's never a bad idea, to talk. But yeah, it's an interesting situation. We'll see what happens. I know they're not really like a huge brand, but it was obviously interesting if they had a power paddle that was really cheap. But it looks like that's not going to be a thing for the moment. So we'll see. We'll see. Because I don't think it's USAP approved.
No, they said they
So
wanted to go for it, but then we're just
yeah,
only UPA approved.
which kind of makes me think they snuck it in there under the ZZ because that provisional approval was only for USAP approved paddles. So I
Yeah.
feel like they knew what they were doing. I guess there could be a misunderstanding or not bad intention, but I feel like there might have been a bad intention because it's pretty straightforward. You need to be USAP approved to get the provisional. So
Yeah.
they knew they weren't USAP approved. So it's
Yeah.
hard for me to think that they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
I
But yes.
All right, so David has a question of the week for me. I do not know what it is, so gonna just react live and you get the raw answer here.
All right.
David, what's that question?
Yeah, so I feel like I know kind of what you're gonna do, but so question of the week is what's a paddle out there on the market that you wish came out in a different shape?
Huh. A paddle that I wish came in a different shape.
I know you're gonna be
I
like, oh, I
gotta,
wish this was hybrid.
I don't know. I mean like I've got some popping into my mind. Like I know I wish the carbon true foam came in a hybrid shape. What? I'm trying to rack my mind. Uh if the Ripple ever came out, I hope they'd make a hybrid shape. Um I'm interested to know what the one you were thinking I was gonna say, unless I already said it. Uh Yeah, that's a tough one. I haven't really thought about that lately. I mean, I guess I do say it in when I'm talking about the paddles. Man, that one's fine, man. I guess I'll just go carbon true foam hybrid shape right now.
Yeah, I think that's one people would say. Other ones are I thought you might have said like the GX2 in a hybrid.
GX2 in a real hybrid, like when they get
Yeah, not the
that too,
Integra.
that too. I didn't think about that one because I mean they do have a
Yeah.
hybrid, but it just isn't wider. I could see that being a lot better. Uh Yeah. I mean, basically, that'd probably be my answer for most stuff. I'd be like, make it in a hybrid if you didn't make it in a hybrid already. Oh, another one. Actually, this is the one, and I think they're doing it. There's rumors, nothing confirmed. They're making their new paddle tech Bantam, maybe with some tweaks in a hybrid.
Oh.
So that will be interesting because I really do like the ESQ, but I just wish it was a little longer. So
I forgot about that one.
yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go with that as my answer. I want the ESQ in a hybrid, the Bantam ESQ 12.7 millimeter. That would be my choice if you could let me choose anything.
Gotcha. Yeah, actually,
Anything else that you would choose to come in another shape?
yeah, I would say the Olympus in elongated shape.
Lampus?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't think you'll get your wish. I think they're
Yeah,
just
no.
moving on.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that like last week's question, how many people said like the Agassi as their UPA approved paddle. But I can see like people asking for the Pro 4 in a true hybrid shape because I think they're coming out with the
Yeah.
Hyperion soon, but they don't have any plans for
Oh,
hybrid.
that's another good one. The Yola Pro 4 in a hybrid
Yeah.
shape. Um, Speaking of that, I was playing with the Agassi 14 millimeter the other day, uh, and I was playing really well with it. I think it might be my main right now. I don't know. I
Oh,
don't
very
know.
interesting.
It's there's something about that shape I really like. I know like a lot of some. Well, I don't know if it's a lot of people. I don't think everyone has tried it that uses the Perseus, but there's something about it. Something about it.
Okay.
But anyway, let's get into the tier list. That's why we are here. I mean, I'm sure everyone loves the question of the week and what the pickle too, but you know what? I'm here for the tier list today. So let me get that on the screen here. We are updating the tier list, and let's first, I guess I should break it down. I know there were some people that were a little upset that I didn't define the tiers. Okay, guys, S tier. So this is like I who knows exactly where this originated. I'm just gonna say it originated from video games. People do tier lists. S tier is like I don't know if it I don't even know if there's like agreed definition what S stands for, but I would say it stands for super. But what have you heard S stand for? It basically
I
is
actually don't know.
elite, god level.
Yeah.
I think is what people say sometimes. Um, anyway, it's the best of the best. It's. I mean, you could just do A, B, C, D, but a true tier list uses the S. Now, definitions and rules, guys. This is our tier list of what companies we feel belong in the tier. I kind of got like we're ranking these with these categories in mind: price, performance, durability, variety. But to define each of those on the tier, it's kind of like, a blend of all those things. And if we feel it's good enough, if someone wants to take a stab at getting like a literal definition for each tier, go ahead. Maybe we can use it, but at the end of the day, it's like S, the best, A, great, B, good, C, it's okay, and D is like, I'm never recommending this. So that's kind of like, I guess, my take. Would you have like define definitions for each tier, David?
No, I mean we're not even like official people doing this. It's just like our opinion. So,
Yeah,
people are all gonna have different opinions on it. So you don't have to agree with us, but this just gives you a guideline of how we're seeing things. So don't read too much into like where we're putting a paddle company.
exactly. Well said. So, how we're breaking this down today is we are just going to go from each of these companies. And I think today we're not going to worry so much about if they are S tier, like, or A tier, whatever, like where they're at in the tier. We're just, going to move them up, move them down, uh, or let them be, stay in the same place. And then we have some companies down here to add, and we'll add them. So, I think, and then if there's not much that's changed since the last time, we'll kind of briefly go past them. But first up, we have 11624. We had them in S tier last time, and I don't think I had hit the power paddles, or I had only hit the vapor power at the time. And I don't think I hit the all chords, but I would say with their whole lineup now officially out and everything, and getting the feedback and hearing about durability, I think it's a clear S tier company. They have great prices, they have great performance on their lineup, they have the variety of all the shapes. And so far, it seems like the durability is held up really well in the powers from everything I've heard, from what I've experienced. And I already know David agrees. I mean, is
Yeah.
there anything you want to add to that one?
Yeah, not really much to add. Like this is clear S tier, probably like even like top company right now in terms of everything, like beginner, intermediate, advanced. Like they've got like everything covered, all the different shapes, and you know their durability is good, and unique paddles. So hard to beat them right
Yeah.
now. Great price points too.
Yeah, I would leave them in the first spot still too. Honolulu Pickleball Company, I would leave them in S tier. I think it's still like hard to know with their power paddle. I haven't gotten as much feedback from different people as I would like. Mine haven't gone past the point of being too hot now, but I understand that this last quarter has kind of been lackluster for them with like the J4K shape, and then the extra or the
The
longer
XK,
handle
yeah.
J2K X were kind of not the best releases, but I would keep them in S tier. I mean, I guess I'll move them down a little bit wherever they end up ranking, even though I said I wasn't going to do that. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is what I was worried about with them last time we were doing this list was I just felt like they were kind of throwing some different shapes at us, and then it didn't seem like they're really innovating much. They're just kind of like, oh, let's try out this, let's try out this in different shapes. And then the power paddles was like, I think it was more like an obligatory power paddle, like, oh, we need to do a Gen 3 style tech and tack it on. But It's like, you hear mixed feedback on it, and it wasn't really revolutionary or anything. But I will
Hmm.
give them points for the C2 and J2 KC for coming out. So, they did come into the beginner paddle market, and their
That's
existing
true.
lineup is still good and relevant. J2 Ti is still one of my most like recommended, like first solid, like first like serious paddle purchase for newer players. Like that's still the one like I recommend for most people. And they still have all the shapes, like they've got the standards. J7K is pretty underrated paddle there. So still an S tier company. I just worry about their future a little bit, but hoping to get on the right track.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not worried about their immediate future, but I do hope they can like get a power paddle and like I know they have one, but I'm hoping they like I think they have something else in the works. I'm hoping they can just like relieve the durability issues. I
Yeah.
think is the big issue, right? That's the biggest problem with the power paddle. Um, this one a lot's changed since we
Yeah.
last talked. I'm gonna let you handle Rhombus. I already know what I want to do, but what would you do with Rhombus now?
With no Ripple being approved right now, like the Pulsars are, I wouldn't put them in D, but I think,
I'm just
yeah,
kidding. I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
They're
Yeah,
falling.
I would say maybe B is fair because I mean at
B.
this point they're just a Gen 2 company, right?
Yep.
And then
I
they're
think that's
yeah,
fair.
they're still good
Still a good
paddles, but
lineup, but just not enough going on to get it up there anymore. Ooh,
that's a pretty
that might
generous
be our
B2.
biggest
Yeah,
faller. Two tier drop.
I think
Two
it
tier
could.
drop right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I think B is fine. Yeah,
Vatic
I think you
Pro.
skip Paddle Tech.
I skipped Paddle Tech. Paddle Tech. Um, I mean, hasn't done anything since we last talked, but that's not necessarily a strike. I think one thing too is like they if we're gonna do this quarterly, like we're not gonna exactly penalize a company for not doing anything in 3 months.
Yeah,
It's more like has the field caught up to them, right? I think that's kind of like more what I'm looking at is how is it compared to the field? Because I mean that's how we're comparing them. I think they're still S tier. I mean no one's touched their paddles
yeah,
yet as far as replicating the their core. Like people keep trying to replicate their core and they can't do it. So they're still one of the top power paddles in the game.
yeah. Definitely still S tier. People are still chasing them, but their paddles are still very relevant. Like you still see people
Yep.
use it, like the TKOs and ESQs, like very popular paddles still. And even though they didn't come out with anything new, like they're still very relevant.
Yeah. Just missing that hybrid. Supposedly they're coming. And I'm also trying to work on I since I do live in the same state as them, I'm hopefully going to try to get something cooking there since we're neighbors. We're not exactly neighbors. I kind of live like 2 hours away, but we're trying to get something cooking there. We're gonna get it. Vatic Pro, I think nothing's exactly changed. I guess drop a teaser there. They did get their 14 millimeter Saga Flash approved, and it passed at a 0.44 PB core. So that would be awesome to find out what is a 0.44 PB core
Yeah,
paddle play like.
I'm still confused about that. Like, is it UPA but not USAP approved? Like, how is it 0.44 and approved?
USAP. Well,
Isn't it 0.43 or is 0.44
that's
the
a
max?
great question. That's a great question because they that was. Hold on, let me go look at that email again. That is confusing.
Yeah, because I saw the same thing. I saw that, but let me go Google this
Huh?
now.
Yeah, because I think it was like you could be 0.44 and you were like fine for now, but like that was
Oh,
like the
okay. I
sunset
think
thing, right? I don't
yeah. I
know.
think 0.44 is it the limit? Now I'm just like
Maybe.
rethinking everything.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, someone will correct
Yeah.
us in the comments. But that's what the email said. So we're just going to go with that. But besides that, we're not counting that into anything because we haven't played with the paddle, but we should be able to play with it pretty soon. I think they're going to be sent out. I think they're still S tier. They have a great lineup for the prices. They have the variety and the shapes. Um, the Saga wasn't like this. The Saga Bloom, the wide body Saga, wasn't like as much power as I would want it to be. but maybe the 14 millimeter will switch that. But yeah, besides that, I think they got a great lineup, great prices, great durability from what everything I know too for their Saga
Yeah.
lineup. Anyway,
Prisms are still very
maybe not
relevant
on the
too.
Gen 2 lineup, but would you keep them in S tier?
Yeah, because I mean the prisms are still very relevant, and then the sagas being where they are, like a very good Gen 1.5 option, for like that
Yeah.
kind of all court leaning power and hitting all the shapes, which is good, just like Lemon 624. So I wouldn't put them at the same level as Lemon 624, but I think they're in a good spot where they are right now.
Yeah. All right. Chorus Pickleball. That a lot of stuff has happened
Yeah,
in the last 3 months for Chorus Pickleball. Not their fault. Not their fault. But what would you do with them now?
yeah.
It's not their fault, but I feel like they got to go down.
It's tough because I think last time we spoke, I said that I thought that they were going to be one of the top companies for 2025, but then they just got hit by a lot of things, like the what was it, the fire getting delisted really hurt them, and so that was kind of like their power line. But I'm thinking it might be a blessing in disguise. Like, I mean, I didn't like the fires, and I think their newer paddles, whatever they come out with, could potentially be even better from that. So
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to like I think what like Phoenix or something that they're replacing it with, and I think they're replacing the Echo too. The Echo was fine. I think it was basically kind of really similar to like a Prism, just like really
yeah,
control paddle. So they had that whole like 9 or 3x4 matrix or whatever. Um, Still good value with the Super Court, and the Shapeshifter line is still good, but I think where they are now, I would probably would I drop them to A? Yeah, I think I would. Hmm. This is tough. I don't know if it's enough to drop them to A though. Because I guess the price is good, but I guess the Echo is technically not released, and we're just talking like Super Court and Shapeshifter, right? So it's just like two lineups.
I you know, unless I was like because if like Spartus is in there because basically the Olympus, and I do really like the HX Super Court, but I don't like it as much as the Olympus. So for me, I would drop them to A until they come up with their power lineup in the summer. But I mean, I understand either way. S tier, they still have the variety in shapes. They have the price
And their
point.
shapes are unique to them. So I think that's the
Yeah.
reason I'll
All
give them
right,
an
let's
S.
keep them in S tier. You know what? They have unique shapes. They have great prices, and they have like it's and they actually do have the Fire HX until July 1st. So and they might have their new power lineup before then. So we'll keep them there.
All
We'll
right,
keep
all
them
right.
there. Spartus, I was maybe whelmed by the last release of the Apex series. It was, I mean, they're great
Yeah.
prices and pretty good performance for that price, but I, when we're trying all these like high performance paddles, I guess it's like for us, we're like, I really want like something better, something better. Um, and they're fine. They're fine paddles for the price point. I guess I was really hoping that, and they are working on something pretty cool, but I was really hoping, like for some cool like power stuff. I don't know. What do you think about the Apex series? Where do you think Sparta should be now?
Um, I mean, the Apex weren't anything special, but I still think they're good paddles. I mean, their main thing they're going for really is durability. So kind of doing what the Lemon 624 is doing with the all quartz and then the Saga. So I think
Yep.
that was like a good comparison. Like kind of that helped push them up there, like where they kind of match these other brands and for variety. And that was one thing Spartus really lacked. So I think that like the Apex line helped them there. I think they're coming out with that wide body shape too, the Oracle. So they'll have Apex in all three of these lines. Not a super like like unique paddle really. It's more of like, oh, you need to understand that the construction is slightly different and it's more durable. But in terms of what it is, I think it helps them appeal more to beginners. Previously, all they
Yeah.
had really was the Apollo, and the Apollo's still a good paddle. I think there are better wide bodies in the market right now. But Olympus, I still think it's good. I don't think it's um Yeah, I still think the Olympus is still good, and I think they just have more variety now, which is why I'll keep them in S because I still like the Olympus, and they've just introduced more variety in Q1, so that's why I would keep them in S.
Okay, fair enough. We'll keep them there. Um, Neonic, I'm guessing you pushed me to put Neonic in S tier last time. I think that they do have good variety and they do have good price points with a couple different models, but I think they could do a better job when they release a paddle to actually release it in more than one shape because right now it kind of seems like they release one shape at a time with their stuff. I mean, I'm fine with keeping them in S tier. I know they have some really high quality paddles. I think they're on the verge of going back to A tier though, just because the competition is really, really tough and they're. You go ahead. Wait, I see you. I see you thinking over there. Oh no, I think I lost them. All right, are you
All
back
right,
with
I'm
me?
back now.
Okay. What do you think about Neonic?
Uh,
Did you hear what I said?
I think I got the gist of it. It was just kind of like
Okay.
in and out. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see them potentially dropping to A. I think the Flare Prime X is still a very good paddle. So that's like the one thing that kind of has me, or like what I think is keeping them in S, like, or hanging on to them for them right now. But like their shapes are unique, specifically the flow. But then and they do have like a lot of options, but I don't think that the options are like too unique from each other. Like if we look at the flow
Got you.
versus like the new titanium flow, um, and I think a lot of it isn't exactly their fault. Like this just it's been hard for like all brands to get approval right now. And so I got the Flow Swift TI, like the titanium one. I want to say I got this in like 2024, and it's still not approved. And they just been like, they told me they're like, yeah, we have no idea when this is getting approved because they're just backlogged. So I think that's really hurting them right now. So it's kind of similar case to like Chorus, where it's not exactly their fault that they can't like release things on time.
Mm,
Yeah, like the Flow is a unique shape, and they have a lot of variety. I just don't think the only one that really stands out, in my opinion, is the Flare Prime X. I think the other ones I'm not a huge fan of. Like I think if they had the flow, was it was a flow Prime X? That's what it was. That one was the one I was a bit underwhelmed by. I think that if that one came out in 14 millimeter and was more similar to the Flare Prime X, I
yep.
think I would like, that flow shape better. But as of right now, they just have like one paddle, and then they just have like a lot of other ones that are kind of similar to each other, if that makes sense.
All right. Fair enough. We'll keep them there. Yola Pickleball, I think that's for me it's an easy one to move up
Yeah.
to S tier. Love the Pro 4s. Hoping the I haven't really heard any durability issues, like any common issues yet for them, so optimistic on that. And obviously they don't have the hybrid shape, but the performance and they just I guess they still only have elongated shapes right now, but they have the wide bodies coming soon. I mean, I love the Pro Force. Love them. Play really well with them. So for that reason alone, I put them up to S here now.
Yeah, I agree. Like they're kind of like paddles. Like people are chasing that Gen 3 technology. And then I don't know if people are going to chase the Pro 4 technology, but right now, like everything's like all these smaller brands are trying to copy Yola. That's what I think
Yeah.
Honolulu did. That's what I think Proton did actually, like with
Yeah.
the diving board style, like Hyperfoam Edge Wall, and then Luzz with the Canon. People are trying to be like the Gen 3. But I don't think any brand has yet like completely made an exact one-to-one clone yet. And even like the
Yeah.
Pro 4, I think that fixed a lot of the issues with the Gen 3. I think they're better versions of them. So definitely deserve to be up to an S tier.
You know, I guess we can say it for the end too, but I just kind of see like I think A tier is still really good. I just feel like look our A tier is kind of slimming down now,
Yeah.
and I feel like when I pit like Neonic and Chorus against like
Yeah, I can
these
see them kind of
11.6
dropping.
24
Yeah.
Paddletech, Yola now, I just feel like they're not at the exact same level, and I feel like they're A tier. But I'll keep them there if you
I
want.
think for now, I would drop Neonic and we'll come back to Chorus.
All right, we'll drop only Neonic
Yeah.
right now. Gearbox. I guess this really just depends how much you like the GX2 and Pro Ultimate Power.
Yeah.
I liked the Pro Ultimate Power, and I liked the GX2 Hyper Wide Body. Um, does that get them to? I I I don't think it's very close, but I don't just on my first reaction, I don't think it gets them to S tier. But what do you think?
So the thing about Gearbox is like their paddles are so unique feeling. Like none of the other brands feel like a Gearbox
Yeah,
paddle. But the other issue is no one exactly wants to really feel like a Gearbox paddle. Like you don't have people clamoring like, "Oh, I wish the Hirachi X felt what came like with the feel of a GX2." I don't think anyone's gonna ask for that.
yeah,
And I think that's why I would leave them at A. Like I think, like you said, A's still really good. I think their paddles are
yeah,
still good. And like one thing about Gearbox is the durability supposedly is a really good issue or really good thing for them. Like it hasn't been an issue, at least with like the old
yep,
CX14s, that old SSD core. Like mine never broke, and that was the reason I bought a CX14 in the first place, was because I was didn't know if I was gonna play pickleball for a long time. So I was like, I'm just gonna buy like a paddle that never breaks and just get used to it. And so that's why I bought it with Gearbox, and I think that's why they have such a big fan base. But yeah, it's like I don't think they're a brand that people try to mimic, but I think they're a unique brand. They have their own niche. They have their own like customers that really support them. And I don't think they're enough to be an S tier, but I would leave them in A. Like they still have good paddles.
yeah. All right, fair enough. I agree. Bread and butter. I don't think they've done anything since the last time we've talked, so I'd still just leave them in A tier. Same with pickleball
Yeah.
apes. If you're good with
Yeah,
those,
their paddles are still good. Like the Filth,
okay.
coming in new shapes. The Invader
Yep.
still, I still think it's a really good paddle. Same with the Shogun and Pulse series. I think they like fix those, so they don't break in as much. But even pre-break in, I thought they were fine paddles, so I would still leave them in A.
All right. We'll leave them there. Rhombus, we move down to B tier. 6-0 hasn't done anything since we last talked. Uh, honestly, could see moving them down to C tier. I think I was going to put them in C tier last time, maybe, but you talked me out
Yeah,
of
I
it,
still
if I
think
remember.
the double black diamond and ruby are still paddles that people like. I don't know.
All
There's still
right. I
people
do
that
see them.
because
Okay.
like if you move them
We'll
to
leave
C, you
them
got to
being B
move
tier for
Rhombus down
now.
too, because like they're basically both Gen 2 companies.
Uh, Diadem hasn't done anything exactly since we last talked. Let me just show this on the screen. This is the blue core. This is the Pro. This is their elongated, the Pro 14. All they're gonna have. Actually, I think they're only having two different elongated shapes, one with a longer handle and then a wide body shape. And those are going to come in 14, 16, and 19 millimeter. This is a 14 millimeter. Also, they have clear handle butt caps that show the blue foam core. Haven't, I literally maybe hit on the Dink Master of this for 5 minutes. So no first initial impressions. It didn't feel like overly stiff. I didn't feel anything like it's hard to get 5 minute impressions, right?
Yeah.
So no first thoughts on it, so I can't really use that in the decision. So I would say we just leave them where we had them before, with thinking they could make a huge leap here with this blue core. They're all in on this. This is an all in launch, so we'll see. um yeah. Anyway, engage pickleball. They've released quite a few paddles
Yeah.
since we last talked, and we have been able to try a lot of those. Um, for me, I think they have enough variety now and different things that I would think about moving them to A tier if someone talked me in the right direction. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think the main thing was the hybrid because they already had the wide body. They just made the wide body with less weight.
Yeah,
I wish their hybrid came a bit heavier. Um, but at the same time, it's like it's basically all the same paddle with just like different weight adjustments. But because
yeah,
they did just come out with the innovation, which I haven't hit yet, but I can see them. Yeah, I put them in A just because they are coming out with the innovation. I don't know what's so special about that yet. I haven't hit that one, but more variety right now, and new paddle line for them. So we'll put them in A for now.
Yeah. The innovation is a good paddle. I mean it's a Pursuit Pro 1 that's weighted up, and I don't know if you the person that said like it, so like
Yeah, so it's
the
basically a
Pursuit
pursuit.
Pro ones were supposed to be like uh less weight of the Pursuit Pros, and then this is weighting up the Pro 1, and it's like, isn't it just a Pursuit Pro then?
I think the
Who
dimensions
knows,
are
you know?
slightly different, is what someone commented, but I haven't checked it yet.
Okay. Anyway, I really like the hybrid with a lot of weight. I know that's, not something everyone's gonna do, but yeah, I think they have enough for A tier right now. And honestly, if they should get me in the building because I have some ideas. But anyway, Groovin, we had at B tier last time. And B tier is still really solid. That's a really solid tier still.
Yeah, I think
What do you
just
think?
keeping them at B. I
Yeah,
feel
B tier?
yeah, I think their paddles are still like they're relevant. Like they
Yeah.
have some of the more unique shapes compared to other brands, but I don't think they're not groundbreaking shapes or anything, but I still think they give a lot of options to their consumers. So that's one thing. And then I don't know, did they ever come out with that cruising line? I haven't really been following, but I think for what they are, like they're still, good paddles. So I'll leave them at B for now.
Yeah, I think that they got held up with that,
Mm,
with the whole weight right now. I can't imagine why they wouldn't get approved though,
yeah,
because I mean it's a control line, right? But I think they get hold up. I mean, they do have amazing variety. They might have the most
yeah,
variety of any company in terms of shapes. They probably do. I don't know who else would have more shapes than them. And maybe Honolulu, but I don't think so.
yeah. I think it's still cruising.
Uh, yeah, it just depends, I guess, like what you weight the most. If you weighted like top end performance, I don't think they would be high on the list. But all their paddles are like overall solid paddles. It's just like, and they do have some good prices for some of their
Yep.
stuff, especially if they get that cruising line. But yeah, they haven't done anything since we last talked, so I don't see why we would change
Yep.
them. Exactly. Mavericks Pickleball, I don't think it's done anything since we last talked. I think their offerings are still good, still solid paddles. I would just leave them at B tier.
Okay.
Okay. ISO Pickleball, really, it was on the kind of the back of the Ryu. Uh, Still a really good paddle. I mean, I would leave them in the B tier alone with that paddle. And I know I forgot their other paddle's name, but I know you said
Yeah,
it
the
was
centric.
pretty good. Still okay.
Yeah.
Selkirk Sport.
Uh,
Since we last talked, they came out with the 08s, which are the all foam paddles. I and they came out with their wide body and elongated. I was only able to hit the elongateds, and I didn't get. I think I only hit the 10 and 13. I don't think I never came across the 16. I have the 10 13. They are not as good as the carbon true films, which we'll get to the carbons. So, I have heard some people like them, especially the wide body shapes,
mm.
which makes sense because I like the carbon wide body shape for the true foam the most too. Uh, so I guess I would keep them in C tier. At least they still have a large variety, and they seem to be working on the performance for that end. At least it seems like they're moving in the right direction. I think I would still keep them in C tier, but hoping that they figure out their foam blend for their paddle.
Yeah, I might because they're experimenting with the foam. I think I would put them in B. Like I would put them in the same tier
B?
as
I could
Diadem.
I could see that. They're definitely on. I think they're on the upswing. They're
Yeah.
on the upswing. They're just I think they could get to S tier if they just figure it out. If they figure out the foam, they can get to S tier.
Because where they are now, I think like I would take a Selkirk over a Diadem paddle. So that's why I would like rank them like there. Like you don't have to move it or anything,
Got you.
but like that's how I kind of see it. I was like keeping putting them up in B instead of leaving them in
Okay.
C.
That makes sense. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Pro XR. Nothing since we last talked. I mean, still solid,
Didn't they
but
have
like
like the proto hype or something?
prototype. I don't know if it was an like.
Was
I
that
think
even
they
released?
build it as a limited release
Oh,
though, so I wouldn't even count it.
okay.
And I mean, I don't think either of us have hit it either, so it's kind of
No, I just
another
heard it's
problem.
like a
But
basically a paddle tech with more weight around it. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be interesting with those two companies being owned by the same company now. I imagine they will have like a re-skinned paddle tech in a different shape probably soon.
yeah.
And I guess that is what the proto hype is, but like for mass sale, because I kept seeing it's like sold out, but I don't think they made that many. So I just keep them in C tier, but obviously if they start selling paddle techs with the Pro XR label, they'll just jump up to S tier, I
Yeah.
guess, and whatever. Uh, Mark Pickleball.
Hmm.
We might have different opinions on this because I really like the Mark Unmarked, but would you end up think have your thoughts changed?
Uh, I like the unmarked, but I don't think it's as good as some people have said it is. I think it's
Okay.
okay. I think it's a solid all court paddle. I don't think it's too crazy different, but it does come in at a good price point. And I think if we're gonna put Mavericks and ISO in B, then we should also put Mark in B as well.
Yeah, I that's where I was leaning. I think that they deserve to be in B
Yeah.
tier. I think for B tier, if you have an individual paddle that is really, really good, I think that's just enough to get you to B tier. And obviously, that's, like either me or yours opinion that they have a single paddle that's really good, but I think it's enough to get to B tier. But they definitely need to get more shapes. They need a little bit more variety if they want to go any farther up the tier list,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
think the unmarked is a good step in the right direction for them. I think it's better than the Mark II. And I
Yeah.
still think the Mark One and Mark One X are really good, like beginner options for people. But yeah, I think with the unmarked, it was a step in the right direction. So I think that's why I put them up to B.
Gotcha. Gamma. I guess they released a 20 millimeter version of the Airbender. I don't know. That might have already been out the last time I talked. I don't know, but I would say no, they haven't done anything. I wouldn't change. They're still C tier for me, but it's kind of like not something that you ever see anyone talking about.
Mm.
Carbon pickleball.
That's jumping
This
up.
might be
Yeah.
our for me. This is probably the biggest tier mover of the list, I guess,
Yeah.
because last time the True Foams haven't come out. True Foams were a big hit, and I think they do have a hybrid in the works. At least that's what I was told. Don't know when that's coming out, but with the combination of the popularity, the performance, and maybe the durability, that still remain to be seen. But so far, besides the face maybe coming off because of a glue, doesn't seem like it's too widespread. Hasn't happened to me. I'd put them in an S tier now.
Yeah. I think they kind of started at least in my opinion, I think they're the ones that started the trend of the all foam. So I'll give them points for that. I think if we're talking paddle performance though, I would have put them in A, but because if we're considering everything else with like innovation, that's what puts them up in S.
All right, we'll put them in S tier. And Franklin. Oh,
That's
Franklin.
another
No,
one.
wait. Volair.
Okay.
I guess Volair is still C
Yeah.
tier. No, they haven't done anything. Um, and it's not that they haven't done anything. It's just we're not changing it because there's nothing for us to change our mind on.
Yeah.
Franklin Pickleball. They released the C45 since we last talked in the hybrid shape. So, obviously they knew they were trying to target me with that hybrid shape. And then they do have their wide body and elongated shapes coming out in 14 and 16. So, haven't tried those yet. Still waiting on that. But I mean, for me and some other people, I know they really like the C45 a lot. For me, that's enough. Like, I like it enough that I would put it in A tier just for the C45 because I like it that much. And it brings some new tech too, like that double thermoforming. David, I don't actually know where your opinion lies on the C45 right now. Where
Um,
where are you thinking?
let's see. So I think there was one issue with the durability, and I think a lot of us in that like our group chat have mentioned like rattling pitch changing, and then at least for some of us, like there was performance changes in it. I think it. I just wish it didn't come so light, but I guess it is a pro to some people that do like to weight it up. I think it's a fine paddle. I think it's a bit on the pricey end, but uh, hmm. If we're factoring in that they're having other shapes coming in other thicknesses, then like at that point that would be an easy A for me. But because they haven't come out yet, and then the rest of their lineup, in my opinion, isn't as great, and I don't think the C45 is as good to put in A. Like I'm leaning towards top of B for now, and then we'll see how the new releases of the C45 are, and if those are good, then that's when I would consider A or S.
Got you. I think this is gonna be our disagree moment. No, I'm I'm gonna put them in A tier. I'm not disregarding
Yeah.
anything you just said. I just like the paddle a lot. And maybe I'm baking. I'm not. I guess maybe I'm baking in the extra shapes coming very soon. But I'm honestly like I just play really well with the paddle. Durability definitely is a concern. I know that in our group chat, a lot of people are raising concerns on durability. So definitely monitoring that and could move down because of that. I'm hoping they get that under control. I don't know. I wonder, do you think having it lighter can lead to more durability issues? Like if you're, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not sure about that actually.
Good question to ask. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, what's actually interesting is I don't know when this is coming out, but when we had this sort of like a pickleball town hall sort of thing a few days ago,
Yeah.
and I think one of the questions someone asked was, if you add weight onto a paddle, does it make it less durable? Like, is it more prone to core crushing or like, you know, breaking down over time if you add more weight onto it when the ball contacts the paddle face? And then that was just something we were kind of thinking about because with someone like 6-0, when they first came out, they specifically said you void the warranty if you add weight onto the paddle. So something that maybe John Q or someone will know the answer to.
Well, that's an interesting question. I personally think 6-0 did that just because they didn't want to give any warranties. But I
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. That's a good question. We should get an answer on. But speed up pickleball. Nothing's happened since the last time in C tier. I guess. Yeah. Babolat.
Oh, that's what that was. I was
Did
wondering what that logo was.
Yeah, Babolat. If that's just how you know if you're not a former Babolat tennis player, I guess. So, if you don't know what that logo is, so I did get to play with their new paddles, basically like a revamped version of what they had before. I think they use a new spray on grit, supposedly lasts longer. I don't know. And then some maybe targeted weight areas. And I really like this baller shape. And now it's kind of maybe like a hybrid version of the Agassi shape a little bit. Uh, then they got the striker and they got the wizard, which so right there. So I only played with the baller. I wouldn't say like I was like super impressed. It does play better than the original baller. I could tell it was a bigger sweet spot, and I don't know if it had more spin or not. It kind of seems similar to me. Um, and then a little bit more power. Pop was about the same, and then I didn't play with the other two. Uh, let me go back to the tier list now. I think it like at least now, and I still don't know about the other ones. I think at least now the paddles are more playable. I mean, I guess the striker was the one before. I was just like, it's funny. I had released a review, and I said the striker was just terrible. And then I think it was Chris Hayworth went out and won like a PPA gold with the striker like a day after the review. And people are like, "Oh, the paddle's terrible, is it?" And I'm like, guys, Ben Johns could go win with a ton
He
of
could beat me
paddles.
with a
I know
Vulcan, you
Chris
know?
Hayworth's not Ben Johns, but it was just funny timing. And then he never was seen again. Chris Hayworth. I don't know. Uh, I could see that. Like, I could kind of see moving up the C list with these revamped paddles. The price is still like very high for what these are. I think. Uh, so kind of like a TBD for me until I like play with the whole lineup. I guess.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I could potentially
yeah.
see a bump to C, especially
You know
because
what? We'll give
yeah,
them. We'll give them a little C boost here because the Baller Plus was cooking pretty good.
and for Chris Hayworth.
And Chris Hayworth. That's shout out that one. This is in honor of Chris
Yeah.
Hayworth right there. Uh, More to come on that. Pro Kennex. I would just leave them in D.
I
Nothing's
guess they
happened. I
had
mean,
like the Black Ace too, right?
I guess they did. I didn't see. I don't see anyone playing with them, and I have not heard anyone raving about them.
Yeah,
So
I guess like we can't really talk about them because we never hit them. So yes.
we can't. So we can't change it. Electrum. Well, also someone that hasn't done anything. Head came out with
Wait, is
some
Electrum still in business?
paddles.
I'm curious about that.
I don't know if Electrum's still in business, to be honest. I do. I probably just need to remove him from the list. Uh, Head came out with some paddles. They're all right. Um, Nothing that got me too excited. They're like a control-oriented paddle. Still expensive. Um, yeah, that's all. Yeah, Vulcan
My favorite
still
company.
there.
I don't think they've done anything right.
Still there. Adidas though coming out with some new paddles, and hopefully we will be getting them very soon. Still can't move them up because nothing's changed there. But same with Onyx.
Yeah, I think
Not
I
much
don't know
going on there
if
either.
they're sending us new paddles or existing ones, but I guess we'll see when they arrive.
Okay, might. So there could be some shakeup, and that's kind of the idea. Sometimes nothing's happened, and then obviously with like carbon, rhombus, one positive, one negative, big things have happened. Others have had minor things happen, but that's kind of where that is Oh, but I guess it kind of gets even more interesting when we add these new companies. Um, Proton. What do we even do with Proton? You know, like
I'm thinking B for them.
B.
I think Flamingo is still a good paddle. And then they have a
Yeah,
bit of a variety. They're just kind of pricey, but I think B is fair.
I think that's fair. Um, Body Helix. I would put them in B tier, possibly A tier. They have a large variety of stuff. Their price points on some of the stuff aren't too bad, and they're doing some interesting stuff, kind of like the Selkirk Slab program. They have their sandbox program. So actually, I haven't heard anything like the last month and a half though. I don't know what happened, but some interesting stuff. I'd put them in B tier.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Gherkin coming on the scene lately
Yeah, they came
with
in
the
pretty hot.
Nightshade.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the G Spot trainer, which I've heard you've been training a lot with.
Oh yeah, it's like up there for me,
Yeah.
right in the middle.
How's the initial training with the G Spot trainer? Do you feel like you've been getting better?
Uh, well, in real talk, I don't like to use those paddles. I think they don't really help my game that much. Yeah, it's just weird because you can't apply spin to it, and that's like what I've been trying to drill more. Is like hitting dinks with more topspin on them, and you
Mm.
can't really do that with this because there's just not enough paddle surface
I
area.
I had an idea for a video where I go like do different things with a trainer paddle, and then I go try to play with my regular paddle and see like if I feel like I'm playing better. But then I was like, man, I'm just gonna hate the time playing with the trainer paddle, like trying to play. But the Nightshade, I've enjoyed the Nightshade, the hybrid version. I've enjoyed it, and I know they have a good budget line that you've really
Yeah.
raved about for under 100. I could see. Well, let's see. Where would your initial placing be?
I'm actually gonna put them in A because I think that the
That's
Nightshade
okay. I
is
agree.
like unique
I
enough
agree.
to put them like up to that level of B and B. Plus, they have a budget line
Yeah,
which not all the A tiers have.
true. I agree. I'm impressed. I think they're doing great stuff. I actually like their logo too. I like that logo. Um, Now, if they could change the Nightshade to not have the letters around the whole face,
Yeah.
um, I would enjoy that. Holbrook, I would put like B tier. They're okay, but nothing special. I know there's a lot of big Ed Ju fans out there. Hope Ed Ju's okay. I haven't seen him lately, but it's just all right, and they're expensive.
I just haven't
So
tried
I
out
mean,
their like that metallic edgeless one they had. I don't
it's
yeah.
okay. I don't know how many people have bought it, but I've seen it a few times, and every time anytime I see someone with a new Holbrook, I go ask them like, big Edu fan, and like 50% of them are like, yeah. The other 50% are like, what'd you just say? It's, I guess for me it's funny, but and then Who Def, shout out to our big fans over at Who Def. They're always, one of our biggest fans. Honestly, David's the Who Def guy around
If I
here,
had a Hoot
and
F
I
shirt,
think
I would
we
totally wear it, man. I would love that.
initially we did have them ranked. Fun fact for the lore: we did record a tier list episode one time, and we lost the audio, so we had to redo it. And Who Def was ranked in that one, and for some reason the picture didn't save in the second one. I think originally we ranked them in A
Yeah, we had them in
tier.
A.
Where would you put them today?
I think B is fair for them now.
B.
I just don't. I think they're actually coming out with a power paddle. Um,
Okay,
but
that's good.
yeah, I don't know when that's going to be releasing. But until then, like they could go back to A. Their current lineup is still fine. I just wish they didn't come out with that weird Selkirk Lux clone. I think I didn't really understand the reasoning behind that. But Fever Pro Gen 2 and 3 are still good, and the Mage Pro and Mage. I know a lot of people like the Mage Pro Gen 2, so they still have like a pretty solid lineup, and I think they're actually a bit underrated. But they're at this, at the end of the day, they're still like a Gen 2 company, and I think B is fair for a lot of brands that are like that.
Yeah. And that makes sense to have the biggest tier these days be the B tier because there's a lot of like solid companies, but we really want to, differentiate the A and S
Oh,
tiers. And that's
no, we
it.
forgot
If
Thrive,
there's
didn't
any
we?
other, do we miss
Oh, we
something?
forgot Thrive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't have the picture for them and I can't really add it mid-time, but we will rank them. That's my bad. Thrive, I would put in B tier as well.
Hmm.
Really do like the Thrive Smoke, but that's kind of like they just don't have variety and they're expensive. Not that expensive will keep you out of the S tier, obviously, but they really don't have that big of a variety. Uh, and the it is, and I think that's kind of where we're going. Like, it could be the bottom of A tier too if you really really love the Thrive Smoke.
I would actually go A for them because
Okay.
Uh, I mean, not just the smoke, but I think the Surge is basically a double black diamond clone with you can select the swing weight. And then the blackout, I think is supposed to be a black diamond clone. I never tried that one, but that's what I've heard. And then they still have the threat, which is basically a Gen 2 elongated, and then the rush is a 13 millimeter version of that. So I think they still have the variety there. And then the smoke is a decent battle. Like I like the smoke a lot. So because the smoke is like I think it smokes a good paddle, and because I think they do have that variety. Oh, and the Zool, of course, but I think that's what that variety puts them in A, at least for me.
All right. Just imagine a Thrive Smoke logo in A tier right here, right there. Any other ones that you want to shout out that I forgot?
No. Oh,
I know there's other companies that
yeah.
we both reviewed that are missing, but we can't do it all.
Yeah, off the top of my head, no, that's all there is.
All right. Shout us out your favorite company we missed in the comments and where you would rank them. Uh I think that is everything, tell us your biggest agreement in the list. Actually, tell us your biggest disagreement in the list. Let's be honest, that's what everyone's gonna do. Uh, if you agreed with us, you're just like, yeah, whatever. I already you guys saying what I say. But yeah, tell us your biggest disagreement in the list. And then if you want to make your own tier list, the link will be in the comments to make your own tier list with these companies, and you can add images yourself. And if you do post a tier list on Instagram or really just Instagram, you can tag us. We'd love to see it and check it out what you think. Um, Anything else for the night,
Oh,
David?
also, don't forget to comment down below what you think about the question of the week. Which paddle do you wish came in a different shape?
There you go. All right, everyone, have a great day. Great start to your April if you're listening to this in April, or end in March with a bang. Have a good one. Well, everyone, it's kind of like a sad time to be recording today and posting this video. This is going to be David and I's last time uh, together on a video. I've just decided that he was talking to me. He wasn't feeling like things were going right, and he's kind of taken another job, and he's kind of wanted to go another way. And then so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to replace you. So I am going to have a new co-host. Right now, it's not to be determined, but we've booked some good people. I think like Christian Elshon's been DMing me trying to get on, and I think he's got a interesting energy about him. Very emotional, like myself. And then we've got like I think Ben Johns was trying to get on too. Jason Aspis from UPAA, and then Carl Schmidt from USAP. A lot of people just trying to get on and be the co-host, but we'll see. I think I'm going to do a tryout or something, and I'll let David talk about where he's going and what he wants to do.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess since I've started doing the channel, I've worked with a lot of brands, and a lot of times they kind of ask me like, "Oh, what should I do for their next for our next paddle?" And I'm not as smart as Justin, but I still have like some ideas of like, oh, based on what I've been selling for my commission, based on what I think the market likes, I've been giving a lot of like ideas. And then my wife kind of just gave me this idea of like, oh, why don't you just like do some consulting for companies? And I started kind of doing some of that where like, oh, I'm spending like hour phone calls with you guys, so I might as well, kind of get paid for it. So yeah, I'll be working for another well, I'll be working directly for a paddle company. I'll be announcing that later, but just some ideas. Hopefully I can like, push out like I got a lot of ideas in my head. One specifically is like if I can get this from Doug, I don't know if he'll let me do this, but I really want to do like my first paddle gold edge guard. I know he owns the
Oh,
rights to that, but if he lets me do it, definitely doing just shouting you guys out. But definitely thank you for letting me on this. It's been fun. It's been fun.
that's a solid idea right there with the gold edge guard. I mean, to be able to come up with that idea like Doug did is
Yeah.
just kind of revolutionary, to be honest. Like I don't even know where he came up with it. Um, and yeah, I appreciate all the time we spent together. And we're still gonna play a tournament this summer together. Like it's no hard feelings. Just sometimes in life, things come to an end and kind of take their natural course. But what can we do? And if you ever are consulting and you need, an expert opinion, you know where to send that paddle, and I'll give you that honest feedback. And I hope the best for you. And you know, I mean, like at the end of the day, we're getting like we're getting there.
Yeah. Good luck
Sorry,
to you.
I didn't want to tear up. I didn't want to tear up.
Yeah, best of luck
Uh,
to you with the podcast, man.
what'd you say?
Best of luck to you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And all I can do to grow it. And to everyone out there, I think we say like happy April Fool's Day. Thank you.